Philip from the Kenya Dairy Board. Thank you, sir, for joining us.
Thank you.
Well, let's just take a deep dive into this issue around the maize flour prices. And of course, this is just to get your opening reactions. Right now we are seeing maize prices will be rising from 120 shillings to 150 shillings. Is this going to have any impact to the dairy farmers in the country?
Okay, thank you so much. A very large proportion of the components of dairy meal, the meal for the dairy cows, the concentrates, come from the cereals, the maize. So definitely, when the maize prices go up, then the concentrate, the dairy concentrates will go up.
So technically, this means the cost of milk will also go up?
Yes, technically that will happen.
All right.
Yes.
So I want you to just turn a bit this way. The viewers want to actually see you properly. Well, thank you for that. Daktari, let's shift gears a bit. And of course, my director, we now want to talk about regulations in the dairy sector, the issue that really brought you here. Let's begin by looking at, of course, the dairy sector has been very much under-regulated in the last number of years. We are now seeing a different change, a different narrative when you look at the dairy sector. Perhaps let's begin by you walking us through what are some of the key issues right now in the dairy sector when you look at the policy regulations.
Okay, thank you so much. The dairy industry, as it is right now, is to a large extent under-regulated because the regulatory framework that was created a long time ago in 1958 was meant for the situation at that particular moment. But because of many changes that have taken place globally and in the industry, technological changes together with many other advancements, we need to have a more comprehensive regulatory regime that is going to ensure that milk and milk products are going to meet the quality standards and the safety requirements.
Yes.
Because as it is right now, if we do not improve the regulatory framework, then we will be exposing the consumers to unsafe products.
All right.
Yeah.
And speaking about quality issues, Daktari, when you look at the mandate of the Kenya Dairy Board, one of the key aspects that they must tackle is ensuring that there's sanity in the dairy sector. There is, of course, high adherence to policy regulations. From where you stand, how are we faring as a country when you look at these particular reforms that you are driving as a board, and what is really happening on the ground?
Okay, thank you. The dairy industry in Kenya, as you know, was a monopoly up to 1992 when it was liberalized.
Yes.
Upon liberalization, what needed to happen very fast was a change in the policy and the regulatory regime, the framework. And an attempt has been made by the government since that time, and we are now coming up with very comprehensive regulations.
Speak to us more about these regulations you're coming up with. Which areas will they be focusing on? What should the farmers expect?
The new regulations are actually to upgrade our regulatory system to meet the international standards. So they will be addressing attainment of internationally recognized quality standards and also safety requirements. That is it. And to also respond to the malpractices that we normally see from time to time, which some of the dairy business operators are engaging in.
Okay.
Yeah.
So speaking about these malpractices, what are we looking at? Is this things like milk hawking? We've seen a lot of vendors nowadays by the roadside. We've also seen the resurgence of milk ATMs.
Okay, milk hawking and dispensing of milk through ATMs is not a real problem per se.
Okay.
But what the problem is what the actors do in the process of engaging in this business. Now you find quite a lot, and it happens a lot in the informal sector. A lot of times you find people adding chemicals to milk. Some of them are very hazardous. Another thing again is some of the milk marketing systems do not provide for sufficient checking of milk, including the testing of milk, so that upon reception of milk, it has to be tested to ensure that it is free of either drugs that the animals were treated on and any other chemicals that may have come from the feed that the animals were fed on. So we need to have a system where all milk at all selling points must be checked and confirmed that they don't contain anything hazardous to the consumers.
And as we wrap up in less than 30 seconds, I just want you to assure Kenyans, what is the future of the dairy industry?
Okay, the dairy industry in Kenya is one of the most brightest industries. It is the one which is going to give us a lot of job opportunities for our youth. It is the one that can also generate a lot of income. It is one which is going to support our poverty eradication
agenda.
And of course it is going to supply the most needed protein food that is required. So generally speaking, it is one of the economic sectors that is going to really support our economic growth.
All right.
Yeah.
We shall be definitely looking forward how the sector will be performing in 2019. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Dr. Cherono, please, we hope to invite you another time.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Well, that has been a discussion on the dairy sector and, of course, a lot of expectations from the public, and definitely a lot to ponder on when you look at the dairy industry now that we are seeing a lot of interest